And to answer the world's oldest question, yes, there is a God. The 49ers have finally gotten rid of Jake Moody. They finally told him, you know what, man, you're done. You cooked. The curse, the hell that froze over us is finally gone. The curse has been lifted. We are no longer cursed by the Jake Moody times Saddam Hussein collab terrorism that was going on in our organization, in the 49ers organization. It's gone. It's lifted. We're good now. We should be fine. The injuries, however, still a pretty big issue. Week 1 was just a shit show, literally, for Kyler Murray. Waking up at 4:30 a.m. to shit yourself before your week 1 game is definitely one way to start your NFL season. And another thing, I also have a suggestion. We should put Brian Daboll and Jake Moody in like a pod, the ones that you send in space, and send them to space. We should take Jake Moody and Brian Daboll, put them in a spaceship with a pod, actually, because of how else are you going to get the pod there? And then detach the pod and leave them there. Don't ever talk about it ever again. Don't ever say anything about it. Don't even mention it. Act like it never happened. Just give them like space, food, and water, and just never mention it ever again for the rest of human existence. I think that's honestly best case scenario for the NFL, especially for Giants fans. Speaking of the Giants, a former Giant, Danny Dimes, how you done? Call this guy Danny Dickham down, because that's what he was doing to the Dolphins all game. He had no mercy. I mean, the Dolphins, that team is so ass. It is so ass. Their defense, their secondary might be the worst in the NFL. Just their corners especially might just be the worst. Mike McDaniel might be on his way out. Not going to lie. First game, we always overreact. You know, the Dolphins were 3-0 at one point 2 years ago and like dropped a 70 bomb on the Broncos, and everyone was talking about them like they were the best team in the league. So, and look what happened. They ended up barely making the playoffs that year. I think they lost in the wild card, and they looked horrible. And, you know, that's what I'm saying about a lot of these, like the first quarter of the season is always like the kind of overreact. We don't really know what we don't know yet. So, you know, it could get better, but just solely based off of what we saw Sunday, easily the worst performance, I think, out of any team. I don't really think you could. That's not even a question, isn't it? Yeah. I think they were the only team that didn't score at least 10 points. Oh, look at that. The Giants. How am I forgetting? I was just fucking talking about that. That's so funny, man. Yeah, besides the Giants, but I think as a team, the Giants looked better. On defense, they looked better. The Dolphins, I would still put them as the worst performance. And that's saying a lot. That is actually saying a lot, considering, like I just said, damn near 25% of the teams failed to score more than 13 points. Multiple scored less than 10. And let's just be real. The Giants failed Daniel Jones, okay? I've always thought that, well, I actually didn't know what to think about Daniel Jones, but I always thought that it was never going to work out in New York. I didn't know how to feel about him because there was just always kind of something about him, especially after they made the playoffs in 2022 and he, led them to a win in Minnesota. I was like, well, see, this is kind of the Daniel Jones that we were all waiting for. So he's capable, but it just never has really fully meshed. So I just didn't know how to feel. Was it him? Was it the Giants? And it turns out it was the fucking Giants. He went 22 of 29, 272 yards, 3 tutties, 2 on the ground. He looked flawless. He looked like arguably the best quarterback not named Justin Herbert and Aaron Rodgers. But Aaron Rodgers and Justin Herbert are fucking elite. So, well, Rodgers was elite. He looked elite on Sunday. That's also something that's crazy, bro. The Rodgers hasn't played that good of a game since I think the last time he won MVP. I mean, you take away 2022. The Packers weren't good. He wasn't really good. In 2023, he went down week 1 with the Achilles, didn't play the whole year. And then 2024, he didn't have a horrible year, but he definitely wasn't, the quarterback that we saw on Sunday. He played lights out at 41 years old in his former building, in his former stadium, against his former team. Tua closed his eyes before every throw, it looked like. And, that has to be the case because there's just no way that, a team with that talent is that bad on offense. I will say, though, they put Jones on his fucking ass on one play. Put his ass to bed. The Colts also scored on every possession, which they were like the first team since like 1978 or something crazy to do that. 78 is the age that Aaron Rodgers looked on the Jets. The Jets and Steelers made me eat my words, to say the least. I talked all the shit the other day. If you watched my last video, you know I betting the under. I didn't, thank God. Said, this was going to be the worst game of the week. I said you'd be lucky if both teams go over 20 or either team goes over 20 points. I'm keeping receipts even for myself, not just for, when it's beneficial. I will say I was wrong. I could not have been more wrong, actually. Justin Fields played probably one of the best. Yeah, he did play one of the best games of his career. Balls were just being thrown all over the place, accurately, I may add. Steelers are filled with just, they're all in this year. They just signed Jabril Peppers. They are all in. They picked up a whole bunch of vets, proven guys, leaders. If this is what Rodgers is going to bring every Sunday, sneaky team for the Super Bowl. Just saying. Arizona and New Orleans, man, it's Trey Benson season. 69 yards. Nice. Sunday morning, Kyler Murray said he woke up and had severe diarrhea. He woke up with the shits, and he played like it at times. I'm just saying, you could tell that he wasn't fully done. Like, you could tell that if he paused to go to the toilet during the game, he would have let it rip. I'm just saying. You could just tell by the way that he played and by the way he was running sometimes that he had a little something left. I don't think I've seen worse luck when it comes to getting calls to go your way than the Saints. I mean, it is just another pass interference call that was not called. It was eerily similar to the one by Nickel Roby-Coleman when he just suplexed Tommy Lee Lewis to the floor. I mean, no call on that. I mean, it's got to be. It is pass interference. Let's just call it like it is, and it didn't get called. And no matter how many different quarterbacks Chris Olave has, he just cannot stop getting thrown hospital passes. I mean, I have never seen anything like this before in my life. No receiver in my lifetime has ever gotten this many hospital throws in my life of watching football. I've never seen it. I mean, let's just say at this rate, if Olave takes another hit like that, he might just go out like Antonio Brown, for real. I mean, CT about to hit. That CTE going to hit. And this game was really just confusing. I don't know what to think. I think Arizona is just always one of those teams where you just don't know. Like, every year I think everyone's saying, oh, this could be the year where they really take that leap. They're better than they were last year. But it's always just the same old, like, mid, kind of team that looks really good one week and looks horrible the next. I mean, it's been like that really since like 2020. They had that stretch in 2021 in the beginning where they were like 7-0. Like they got to like 10-1 at one point. I think they were like the best team in football, and they just they lost like 5 of their last 6. They got blown the fuck out in the wild card game against the Rams. And just after that, it's just been, pretty much next to nothing. They've done like next to nothing in like the last 3 seasons. So, even teams that are mid, like, the Steelers, every year they're like 9-8, but they have TJ Watt, like he's the guy. And they have Mike Tomlin. That's the difference. There's just something always that seems to be always missing with Arizona. I think Kyler is a good quarterback. He's never really past that level of like great. He's never really been, besides like those 2 years where he was kind of climbing the ladder to be like a top 5 guy, and at times it looked like it. I think it's just ever since then, and ever since the ACL tear, it's hard. Like, he hasn't been the same really. And looks like I was wrong about the Panthers too. I mean, I don't know if I ever voiced my opinion on them, especially in the last video. I don't know if I did, but I was high on Bryce Young. I thought the way that he ended the year last year was, stellar. I thought it was going to be his year to finally show out. I just think now, like, at some point when a player continues to show you who they are, you got to believe him at some point. And I think that it's that time where we kind of have to. He got benched last year, and listen, credit to him, he came back from that and played well. It is very rare when something like that happens that early in the year too, that they come back and they bounce back. Believe me, like I know that, the Panthers are not some, juggernaut, but this is definitely the best team that they've had in a long time. And I think there's a lot of people, like especially in the YouTube space, that will agree. I know Brett Coleman, he pretty much said those exact words. Should be really interesting to see how these two teams pan out. I think Carolina could be a lot better. I think Jacksonville, if they play this good when Lawrence didn't even play that good of a game, Jags' defense looked a lot better than I thought they would. Maybe the Panthers are just that bad, probably. But there's a lot of disappointing football. I think Cincinnati was underwhelming. They easily could have lost this game. Joe Flacco kept Cleveland in the game. If you drafted Burrow and Chase as a stack in fantasy, I'm so sorry for you. That I've seen a lot of those. On TikTok. And yeah, it's brutal. That's a brutal way to start. The Bengals went right down the field. I'm pretty sure like on the first drive or something like that. Yeah, it was the first drive. Chase Brown got in the end zone. And then after that, the offense just, dude, it was non-existent. Chase Brown especially did nothing after that. Just a lot of running backs that just got fucking stuffed. Like the yards per carry for a lot of these running backs, volume is there, but just just nowhere to go. Jamar Chase had 2 catches for 26 yards. It's just, you got to be better than that, guys. We're talking about people's fantasy lives. Their fantasy team needs you. But no, seriously, more importantly though, as a team, I know Cincinnati's happy that they got the win because every fucking year they're starting like 0-2 or some shit. They're definitely happy they got the win, but against the Browns team that people were saying that could be the worst in the league, tough. To only win by 1 point after going right down the field and scoring on the first drive, I know they don't love that. Tampa Bay and Atlanta. Emeka Puka. I love you, bro. I fucking love you. I had you on my bench. Damn near put you in over Ricky Pearsall. I still won in fantasy this week, but I wanted to put you in because I just knew deep down in my heart that you were going to have a good game. But in my brain, it was like, it doesn't make sense. Every time a rookie plays week 1, like a receiver, it's never what you think. Marvin Harrison last year, just Malik Neighbors last year. Like they could do okay. They're never going to score 2 touchdowns and score the game winner. It's like, that doesn't happen. But of course it happened with Emeka Egbuka because he's that good of a player. He is like another Mike Evans, and just in terms, I think, of a reliability target. He's obviously not built the same as him. Like Mike Evans is huge, but Egbuka's like pretty solid size himself. But he reminds me more of like a Nakua in a lot of ways. Atlanta's an interesting team because I think that they definitely did not play their best game, but they had that game in a lot of ways. Like they were, that they easily could have won this game. I think Kyle Pitts finally learning how to play tight end is a good thing. You still have Drake London, who did get injured, but it shouldn't be that serious. I think he's considered day-to-day. Bijan did not play well on the ground, but took like a 50-yard swing screen to the house. So that's just, I guess it makes up for it. But I know you lose Caleb McGarry. Like, it's defense isn't that great, especially the pass defense. It could get better for Atlanta, but I think in that division, I think Tampa Bay is just. It came down to Tampa Bay and Atlanta to who I think would win the division. I think Atlanta could be better, but Tampa Bay is just. I think that they just have too many things going for them. They have, I think, better leaders, more seasoned vets. Yeah, I think that division still belongs to Tampa Bay. Lions looked horrible, which was honestly kind of surprising because, I was expecting them to run the ball and run it really well, and they just got bullied. But this is definitely the worst game that the Lions have played since 2023, and I really couldn't really even tell you what game that was. But this is the worst game that they played in, over a full season. I will say that. They didn't play this bad in 2024 in any game. Yeah, but when I'm thinking about the Lions offense, like I'm thinking about explosive plays down the field, yards after catch, and that just wasn't existent. It wasn't. The Packers defense, 8. They look like a top 5 unit. Micah Parsons coming there obviously changes everything. And I don't know if this is a thing with Detroit where it's like, yeah, Ben Johnson really meant that much to them and they're not the same team without him, or if it was just a bad day, because everyone has a bad day, but that just didn't look good. I mean, you're talking about, like, you're going Jared Goff, you're going 31 of 39, but you're only going for 225. Running the ball, 2 yards a carry as a team. You're not even running offense at that point. You're just trying to survive. You're like throwing check down after check down. Jahmyr Gibbs had 10 catches for 31 yards. They had nowhere to go. Even if they could get a completion, which they got a lot of them, they just had nowhere to run with it. Like, it just, the game plan on defense for Green Bay could not have been better. Tennessee and Denver, this was interesting because Tennessee was in this game because of their defense. But if you look at the stats, it's so lopsided. Like, the final score was 20-12. Denver wins. You look at the box score, it's not even close. The Broncos defense annihilated. They molested the Titans offense. They just completely prison fucked them. Like, it was bad. Tennessee had 133 total yards of offense. 62 passing, 71 rushing, 2.4 yards per play. They had 7 first downs. They were 2 for 14 on third down. Cam Ward got sacked 6 times. They punted it 8 times. They had 13 penalties for 131 yards, and they lost 2 fumbles. And they somehow only lost by 1 possession because of their defense. Give credit to the Titans defense. Bo Nix just, I don't know what the fuck happened. The Broncos had 4 turnovers. I know Sean Payton is pissed. Sean Payton is just that kind of coach where, the mental errors and shit like that ain't going to fly. He's going to let you know about it. Payton is such a no-nonsense guy. Obviously, he's a guy that you want to go to war for, but, Denver, believe me, they're going to be better than this next week. But the defense, it's no question that they're that good. I said this in a previous video. I've been saying this. When I made that video 3 months ago about the no-fly zone 2.0, it showed. That defense is the best in the NFL. There's no question about it. Denver's defense is the best defense in football. From top to bottom, secondary, linebackers, defensive line, pass rush, everything. They have everything. They have the reigning defensive player of the year. They have another candidate in Nick Bonito. And they had 4 fucking turnovers, bro. And their defense just still locked them down. There's no way in hell that Kansas City beats Denver once this year. I'm sorry. It's just not happening. Rams, Texans, that game was super, super boring. I mean, Texans offense was non-existent. CJ Stroud looked fucking ass, which is tough for me because I had to drop CJ and I picked up JJ McCarthy. That's Buckeye betrayal. That's what I call that. Puka Nakua, this could be his year to be wide receiver 1 in fantasy. Not just fantasy, but in the league. I think he could have the Cooper Kupp year. He could have the Triple Crown kind of year that Cooper Kupp had in 2021 with this offense and Matthew Stafford. Because his first season as a rookie obviously was great, but he only had 6 touchdowns. His second year he had 3. I think this is the year that Puka could easily be a double-digit touchdown kind of guy. And obviously lead the team in targets. I don't think there's any question that that's going to be the case. Niners and Seahawks. The injury bug just cannot leave this team. There's just something about the 49ers, bro, that they're just cursed. I mean, George Kittle's about to be out for 4 weeks at least because he got placed on IR. Purdy might miss week 2 with a bad shoulder and toe. Juwan Jennings dodged a big injury, but he might not play week 2. His status is uncertain. Brandon Ayuk isn't playing right now. So you're already shorthanded with pass catchers and Kittle going down. I mean, Kittle's your best player on offense. It's just besides McCaffrey. Pearsall looked good. Purdy looked good. besides the 2 picks. McCaffrey was himself. Not a lot of room to run, though. The offensive line looked horrible for San Francisco. But listen, you got the win. Purdy's got that. Listen, I will say this about Purdy. He's got gunslinger in him. Like, he's all balls, bro. Balls of steel. The guy is not afraid to make a throw when he needs to make a throw. Sometimes it doesn't always go his way, but when it does, it's, really fun to watch. So I think San Francisco is going to need that from him. Like, he's going to have to put the team on his back a little bit for, the next 4 or 5 weeks. The defense looked great. Saleh coming back. I was excited about that. Really did not think that we would look this good. And like I said, we could have easily won by more points. We could have won by 10. We left 6 points on the board with Moody. And his fucking horrible kicking, and the special teams unit is just so bad too. Final score should have been 23-13. No question. Nick Bosa, Fred Warner, D. Winters, Lenore and Renardo Green looked really good. Marquise Sigel, the rookie safety, looked really good. The defense, they have something with that. And this is still a young squad. We got 3 rookies playing on the D line that are getting in rotation. Solid with those guys. You give him by like mid-season, he's going to have those guys, playing some pretty good football. I'm excited to see if this is what we can do in week 1. I'm excited to see what we have down the line. Seattle, on the other hand, this is a tough team because Seattle's defense is actually, I think Seattle's defense is good. It is a very good unit. They have a lot of players that they like to move around, and Witherspoon is a guy that they like to bring off the edge. Julian Love. They got versatility in that pass rushing because Mike McDonald is obviously, he comes from Baltimore, and that's what he did a lot. He did a lot of that in Baltimore. Jackson Smith and Jigba, he's the whole offense. They got nobody else. So Seattle's tough. A lot of people were very excited about them this year. But I think that division is going to come down to the Rams and the 49ers. Bills and Ravens. That game was, it's going to be the game of the year. Derrick Henry, every time I think the guy's getting too old, he just fucking plays the best game of his career. It's fucking insane, bro. The guy had 169 yards on 18 carries. He's 31 years old. And this guy's still cooking. The Bills scored 22 points in the 4th quarter. That is fucking nuts. Vikings, Bears. Dude, the Bears let that one slip away. They had it. Just straight up. Bears fans know they let that one get away from them. 17-6 in the 4th quarter. Defense was eating. McCarthy scores 3 touchdowns. Throws 2, runs for 1 in the 4th. To be down 17-6 in the 4th with a rookie, well, basically a rookie, second-year QB that didn't play at all last year, making his first start on the road. Give credit to him. He did not waver. He didn't say, okay, let's just get out of here. It's not our night. We got a first-year starter. Just let's just pack it up. It's the 4th quarter. Let's just not make it worse than it already is. No, he kept fighting. He believed in his guys, and I think that's, the case with him ever since he's gotten there. He's no matter who's his quarterback, he believes that, they're going to get it done. They had Cousins, Josh Dobbs for second half of 2023, Sam Darnold. He made Sam Darnold look like an all-pro, and he took him to the playoffs. Kevin O'Connell is for real. J.J. McCarthy is for real. I think that guy, and especially, too, when he got interviewed, he just seems like a likable dude. I know the Bears, they didn't play the best game on offense, but there were times where Caleb Williams looked really good. The problem is the run game. They just have no sort of juice in the run game. They don't have that workhorse back that they can give it to, 20 times a game and, let him eat if they need him to. They don't have that. They had DeAndre Swift go for 17 carries, 53 yards. And, they had DJ Moore in the backfield. Besides DJ Moore and DeAndre Swift, nobody else had carries, not counting Caleb Williams, obviously. So that means the running backs that you do have outside of DeAndre Swift, you don't trust. Because if you're putting your number 1 wide receiver in the backfield to run the ball, you got some problems at the running back position. Let's just call it what it is. I mean, like I said, week 1, you really can't make a whole lot of it. You're going to overreact. You're going to be wrong about a lot of things. You know, it's just all smoke and mirrors, bro. It's all fake. Week 1 is not real. It's basically just a free-for-all. And then when you get to midseason, that's when you really start seeing teams for what they are. Thanks for watching. I'm Matt. Jake Moody sucks. Bada bing, baba booey, Tony Soprano, the Jersey Shore, Pauly D. I'm from New Jersey. Jake Moody sucks. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.